This Malachi Church versus State. If your hands were to crumble as a leaf without water and begin to dry due to the fact that you weren't reading your word, would you then begin to read your word? If not reading your word had consequences, like the dryness of the hands or the falling off of limbs, would you then read your word every day? We see plants, especially in the summertime. If you don't water them in the morning, by midday, their leaves look just like this. And then you know, if you're a good steward of what you have, you know, well, I got to water those guys in the morning, in the evening, in the morning. Because if you water them at this stage in midday, you're going to scar them. Reading the word to help our day in the first thing in the morning a little bit to keep us fresh? Are we only reading the word when we see everything falling off and we go, oh, I better get into it. I better start praying. I better start asking God for these things. We always wait to ask God for what we need when it's at its wit's end. When we're totally out of water, being shriveled up, ready to die and crumble into nothing. Then we ask for God to come and intervene and fill us up. And then we wonder why, sometimes things don't happen. Because in reality, if God would fill us up and God would bless us and do the things that we're asking Him to do, they would have the opposite effect. Just like watering a plant in midday when the sun's beating down on them. It shocks them. And so then we wonder, well, why, God, are you not giving me what I need? Because I'm praying to you. Because He's saying I'm waiting till the evening to come. Because if I give you water now, it will destroy you. But I'll give you some in the evening. But it's up to you to read and get into my word and seek my knowledge in the morning, in the coolness of the morning dew, so you have the water to last you throughout the day. See, it's unfortunate that these things aren't as vivid in our mind, that we don't see these things as we should. We don't see any of this stuff, unfortunately. It's a sad thing. Because God doesn't want, in reality, He wants us to want to read His Word. He doesn't want to have to prove a point by shriveling us up into nothing. And the reason why this plant shrivels into nothing as it looks now on this picture that I have here is because all the water's gone. Well, what is the water of your life? Christ. What was the one thing that He said when He was given communion? You'll thirst no more. Water is important. We can even take this as far as during the millennium, it states there'll be no water on this earth. Why? Because Jesus is the living water. God is the living water. The Spirit is the living water that dwells within us, that nourishes us. Our bodies are made, what, 80% water? If not more, everything. Bite into a tomato, mostly water. A grape, mostly water. We have a world that's right now, I just read something recently about, I think it's Nescafe or one of those guys that want to control all the water in the world, all the fresh water anyways. Water is huge. And there's a reason why Christ said what He said, the water of life. But unfortunately, not enough people are reading His Word every day. And even at that, reading His Word, I say reading your Word, no matter how you read it, is a good thing because the Word is never void. But at some point in time, just like a child needs to, from crawling to walking, or to riding a bike with training wheels to actually taking them off so he's free, you have to do the same thing within the Word. You have to start digging into the Word and getting the meat of it. or you won't survive, because there'll be times when there'll be no water. You understand what I'm saying? And you will be, well, if you're kind of a person that gets dried up midday or midlife because you don't read your word, if you don't start having the meat of the word, you're not going to last 2 days. You'll be dead. But good thing for us and a good thing for you that God did not make it this way, to where if we didn't read his word, we'd dry up and shrivel up like a leaf without any nutrients under the sun and really gets crushed into dust. But what if? What if he did? Would you make it? This Malachi Church versus State, please, every single day read your word. That's the only way you're going to make it through. And you think things are tough now. And you think things are being staged now to destroy the U.S. economy. And the U.S. really represents a God-fearing country, even though the God that Washington, D.C. has on our money and all these different aspects, even within our government system, is pure evil. But the people are good. The everyday citizen that goes to church, that wants to do the good thing in God's eyes, they're good people. And the world knows this. That's why the world is trying to come here and destroy us. That's why our leaders are doing everything outside of America, giving billions of dollars of aid to all these other countries besides aiding its own country. Same time turning its back and allowing things to happen within our own company or country. Not company, it's actually a company. I'm not going to get into that one. But invade our own country to destroy our own country. It's because they want to destroy the spirit of man and his love towards God. Anyways, Malachi signing out. Hug your kids, call your parents, talk to your neighbor, repent and be baptized.
This is so hard for me to do. I just pray that I can see it through.